Today's video is another food related video. I'm cooking 3 family meals and they're all pretty healthy and pretty easy to cook. The first meal that I'm gonna cook is probably the most complicated, but it's honestly not even really that difficult. So I think they're all pretty easy to make. Still no closet organization video. But when you try to work with other people, you have to just work with each other's schedules. So that's how it is. It's a friend of mine and she just has a lot going on right now. She's really busy. And she just has a lot on her plate right now, so I don't fault her for that. But whenever she's available, she'll come over and we'll get that done. But this video is more food-related content, which I promised I have other interests. But I do really like to cook, so it's okay. It's fun. I enjoy it. He likes to use the windowsill as like a little road or street for his trucks. It's really cute. Okay. Whoa. But anyway. I have some other stuff I'm working on, some other videos I want to make. I promise not all cooking or food related. You okay? Say hi. I do have some other stuff that I'm working on that I'll be putting out soon. But this video is going to be 3 family meals. I make shrimp and scallops over pasta with asparagus, turkey chili, and baked chicken with roasted sweet potatoes and sauteed veggies. For tonight's dinner, I'm doing lemon garlic shrimp and scallops over pasta with asparagus. We love angel hair pasta, and I think angel hair pasta goes really well with seafood, so that's what I'm going to be using. Then I'm going to be sauteing my shrimp with fresh garlic and a little lemon juice and some olive oil. Then I'll add the scallops afterwards. Scallops are super quick to cook. They just take like 2 minutes on each side, so I'll save that for last. And then I'll make a little bit of a sauce, but I'm trying to keep this healthy, so nothing cream based or anything like that, to put over the seafood and the pasta. First, I'm going to get my water boiling in the back. I apologize for my cookware like I did in the last cooking video. If you didn't watch it, my nicer stuff like that Sean and I got for our wedding is still in storage from when we moved, but we've now lived here for like 1.5 years, so I guess we should go get it. I am about to prepare my asparagus. I'm just going to chop off the bottom parts, wash them a little bit, and then I roast them. This is parchment paper. I just lay them down, and then I'm going to drizzle it with olive oil, sea salt, and pepper, and then I'm going to dice up this garlic. But I will leave a couple of bigger chunks too. So it's like some minced and some diced, I guess is the best way to put it. And then this I'll just cut in half to squeeze the lemon juice. Here's where it gets a little tricky because everything else is going to start going quick and is going to start getting ready at the same time. But I got my asparagus in the oven on 375. I'm going to let it roast in there for about 15 minutes and check it and see if it's done. And now I'm heating up enough olive oil to cover the bottom of the pan for my shrimp and scallops. And I'll also put in like a teaspoon of butter for flavor. And my water's boiling, so I'm going to put my pasta in the water and get that going. Got my pasta going in the back, and my pan is ready for the shrimp. I'm going to start with the shrimp since they take a tad bit longer, and I just have my fire on like medium high, and I'm going to put them in the olive oil with a little bit of butter, and I'm going to put in, I'm going to take out my big cloves. My big cloves are going to be for my little sauce that I make. Alright, I'm going to put in this minced garlic in the olive oil. one little fluid made it in there, but that's alright. Yummy. I'm going to let this cook for about 30 to 45 seconds, and then I'm going to put my shrimp in. Alright, I put my shrimp in with the olive oil, butter, and garlic, and then I sprinkled the shrimp after I stirred them around for a minute. I sprinkled them with sea salt, pepper, and a little bit of cayenne. Give it a little bit of spice, a little flavor. And now I'm going to sprinkle it with some lemon juice. And I'm going to cook these shrimp until they are pink all the way through. I have half of my lemon, and I'm going to squeeze most of the juice out, probably save a little bit. And my pasta's done, so I'm going to go ahead and get that drained. And to keep my pasta from sticking to the bowl, I always put a little bit of olive oil, stir that around while I finish cooking the shrimp and scallops. I'm about to cook the scallops now, and by the way, I put the shrimp in this, I put the shrimp in this stainless steel bowl and covered it with aluminum foil to keep it warm, because I don't want the shrimp to get cold, but before I'm done cooking everything else, so that's to keep them warm, and they're kind of marinating in that garlicky, lemony sauce too, so it should help with flavor. Now I'm about to cook the scallops. I wanted to throw in here that scallops are very expensive. I literally only buy them like once every year to 2 years. And they happened to be on sale when I was at Whole Foods this past trip. And they were on sale for $14.99 a pound. And I got like a little bit less than a pound. I think I have like 10 scallops in here. So that's the only reason I bought them. And I just wanted to warn you that they are expensive. So that if you kind of got this craving, but it's not really in your budget right now, maybe save it and cook this meal when scallops go on sale or when it's more in your budget. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. And you could always just cook shrimp. Like, shrimp are delicious by themselves. All right, so I'm about to put a little bit more butter. I'm talking a little bit of butter, like a teaspoon in the whole pan, just to give it some flavor. And then cover the rest of the pan with olive oil. And then I'm gonna cook the scallops for 2 minutes on each side. And I kind of cook them the same way I did the shrimp. They have the butter and the olive oil. And then I'm going to throw some more garlic in there and sprinkle them with sea salt and pepper and probably a little bit of cayenne too. All right, I have a little bit more butter, olive oil, and garlic heating up in this pan. Now I'm going to take my scallops out and pat them dry with a paper towel and then cover them with sea salt and pepper on both sides. And then I'm going to cook them in this 2 minutes on each side and kind of see if they're done. Once I put the scallops in the pan, I sprinkled them with a tiny bit of cayenne and the rest of what I could get out of this half of a lemon. And they have about 1 more minute to go, and then I'm going to flip them. I'm also, just to give the asparagus a tad bit more flavor, I'm going to get whatever I can out of this lemon to get a couple drops. Yeah, I'm getting some more out. A couple drops on the asparagus. Alright, I just flipped all of my scallops over except for this big huge one. And I can tell that they're done because the bottom side is now like kind of an orangey color. So I'm going to start taking them out, the smallest one first to the biggest one, to give those bigger ones just an extra few seconds. But you don't want to overcook scallops because then they get really tough and chewy and they don't really taste as good. Right, go ahead and flip over this big guy. Give him a minute on the other side because he was much bigger than all the other ones. All right. Alright, I'm going to give him about 20 more seconds, then I'm going to take him out and cover this back up to keep my shrimp and scallops warm, and then I'll get into making my sauce. Now, I'm saying sauce lightly. All it is I just want to have something kind of liquidy to pour over the shrimp, scallops, and pasta so that it doesn't get super dry and keeps that flavor in. And if you're not watching your diet, you could always do like an Alfredo or a scampi sauce or something like that. I'm trying to keep this as healthy as possible, but also get my family to eat it. So that's the trick. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm using the rest of just what's left in this pan, the drippings, the little bit of butter I use, the olive oil, kind of getting those pieces unstuck, get that garlic mixing in. Okay. Now I'm going to be pouring in just a little bit of this chicken broth that I've had in the pantry. You could use a dry white wine, but I don't have any of that right now, so I'm going to be using chicken broth. Obviously, it'll give it a different flavor, but either would work. You want to turn your fire way down so that it doesn't like splash up and burn you in the face. So I'm turning it all the way down to low, and I'm stepping back because I don't really have time to let it cool all the way down because I don't want my shrimp and scallops to get cold. So I'm just stepping back because I know it's going to like steam up. Be careful whenever you pour a liquid into a hot pan because you could get seriously hurt. Just throwing that out there. Alright, I literally just put about a cup. And now I'm going to be pouring in the rest of the garlic that I have like diced up. But I'm going to simmer this garlic down for about 2 to 3 minutes before I do anything else. Now that I'm smelling it and looking at it, I bet using the chicken broth and also the white wine would be really good. If you follow me long enough, one thing you'll realize, a lot of the recipes that I cook, I literally just like make up as I go along. And if they turn out not so great, then I don't cook them again. And if they turn out good, then I cook them again. But anything I cook has either been taught to me by my sisters, by my dad, or I just make up as I go along. Or like occasionally I'll get a recipe from the internet or something, but most of the time it's either something I've learned from my family or it's something I've just made up. Alright, now that that's been simmering for a few minutes, I'm going to add a little salt, a little pepper, and then of course it already had the fresh garlic in there. So, oh my goodness gracious. Okay. I have my other half of my lemon, and I'm going to squeeze that all in there. I'm not going to like try to get every last drop, but just the majority of that comes out on the first few squeezes. Mix that in. Alright, now let it cook for about 30 more seconds and then shut off your fire. Alright, this is what it looks like served up. This is my plate. I'm obviously watching my carbs, so I went easy on the pasta. And then I'm going to take this tablespoon and scoop up some of this sauce and garlic and put it on top. And the last step, I have this shredded Parmesan cheese. I'm going to put a little sprinkle. Let's put it on the asparagus too. A little sprinkle on top. And it's ready. So this has nothing to do with cooking, but look how cool the sky looks tonight. Tonight's dinner is turkey chili. I'm actually at work, so Sean is going to throw it together. And he filmed it so that I can just do a voiceover and let y'all know what he's doing. First, he is putting in a case of beef broth. Normally, we would use a 12-ounce can, but we happen to have this in the pantry from Trader Joe's. It's 17 ounces, but it won't make much difference. Then some pinto beans. Make sure you drain and rinse all the beans first. Kidney beans. Because if you don't, it just gives it, I feel like a thicker, kind of jellier substance. I don't know. And also black beans. So pinto beans, kidney beans, and black beans. And a can of corn. We also drain and rinse the corn. If you don't like corn, obviously, you can just leave that out. But we like it in our chili. And now he's putting in the ground turkey. When I make it, I normally put the ground turkey in first thing, but it'll be fine like this. It gets cooked either way. Okay, now he's getting our 2 cans of diced tomatoes and putting those in. If you would prefer using just regular tomatoes, or fresh tomatoes, I should say, and cutting those up, that's fine too. But normally when we make this, I like it to be quick and easy. Just throw it all in the crock pot. And now a can of Rotel. That gives it a little bit of a kick. Not too much, but a little bit. Tastes good. Sean diced up 1 small yellow onion, and he's adding that in now. What would come next is taco seasoning. So if you have a pack of taco seasoning, just open that up and put it in. But we didn't have any, so he's just adding in our own seasonings, which will be mostly cumin, a lot of cumin, to give it kind of a Mexican flavor. Probably about a tablespoon, maybe 2. And some cayenne, some paprika, some garlic powder, and some salt and pepper. I am making this whole recipe off of a graphic that I got off the internet. At the end of this video, I'm going to put up the graphic so you can go ahead and screenshot it if you want. And then you just modify it to how you like it. It also has a pack of ranch, a pack of that ranch seasoning, but we actually didn't have that either. So we just put in all of our own seasonings. But you can put in that packet of ranch and it's actually pretty good. So this is what it looks like when it's done. We normally throw it all in the crock pot in the morning and turn the crock pot on low and let it cook for 8 hours. And if it needs to cook longer than that, that's fine. I'm about to put up the graphic. You can go ahead and screenshot it. It was too long, so I had to put it in 2 different pictures. So you can screenshot the top and then screenshot the bottom. But this is what we use as a base, and we just go off of this. Like, we always add an onion, but you could also add other stuff if you want. Okay, so tonight's dinner is baked chicken and 2 sides, which is going to be sweet potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes, and then squash and zucchini sauteed with some other things I'm going to mix in there. Chicken is a go-to for me just because obviously it's one of the healthiest proteins and you do so many different things with it, and I usually get it for pretty cheap at Fresh Market, so that's why I cook it a lot. I sometimes grill it, like on our cast iron. I sometimes just saute it, but tonight I'm going to bake it in the oven. Oh, and just so you know, today's goal: keep the tiny humans alive. Goal achieved. I'm just playing, but I love this shirt. My sister made me this shirt. Alright, so here's everything I'm using tonight. My chicken, which is a lot more expensive than what I usually pay for it, but I was all about convenience last week when I went to the grocery, that I'm going to bake in the oven with just some seasonings. And then I'm going to wash these sweet potatoes and chop them up and roast them in the oven. And then I'm going to saute my squash and zucchini in some olive oil, and I'm going to add in a small onion, a sweet pepper, some cherry tomatoes, and some garlic. Whenever I cook a squash and zucchini, I literally just saute it in some olive oil, and I add in whatever I think would taste good with it, or whatever I'm trying to get rid of. These cherry tomatoes that I have are kind of like on their last leg, and I don't want them to go to waste, so I'm going to use them tonight. I also happen to have a sweet pepper that's not really about to go bad, but it does need to be used, so I'm going to throw that in there. And then the onion and garlic for flavor. So I think this will wind up turning out pretty well. I'll let y'all know. First, I started by drizzling some olive oil in the bottom of the pan. And then kind of rub it around just with the chicken. That's so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. I've preheated my oven to 400. I'm just going to pat the top of my breasts a little bit with a paper towel. Sprinkle a little olive oil over the top. For your chicken, you can season it literally just however you want and whatever you like. You could do like garlic powder and cayenne and paprika. What I'm cooking tonight, I think rosemary would be good. So I'm going to use a little garlic powder. Oh, and of course salt and pepper. I should have started salt. Did my garlic powder. And now I think I'm gonna do a little oregano. Sometimes I'll literally just bake it with barbecue sauce if I want barbecue chicken. What else will I do? Sometimes I'll do
So I'm gonna put
Italian
my chicken
dressing
in the oven on 400. I'm gonna cook it for 20 minutes and then flip it over and then cook it for another 10 minutes and see if it's done. And if it's not done, I'll go in 5-minute intervals until it is done. All right, next for my sweet potatoes, I'm going to scrub them, dice them, put them on a baking sheet on a piece of parchment, drizzle them with olive oil, sea salt, pepper, and a little garlic powder. And then those are gonna go in the oven on 400 as well for probably about 15 minutes. Okay, now I'm going to wash all of my produce. Okay, while I'm chopping up my onion, I'm going to coat the bottom of my pan with olive oil and get that heating up so that as soon as I'm done. All right, I have my pan on a medium heat. Gonna drop in not quite, probably needs another minute. So while I'm waiting, I'm gonna Alright, I'm going to let this cook down for probably about 3 to 4 minutes before I do anything else with it. And in the meantime, my chicken is going to be ready to flip, so I'm going to take that out and flip it to the other side. And I'm also going to check on my sweet potatoes and see how they're doing, because it's been about, it's been about 12 minutes since I put the potatoes in. When I took the chicken out, I flipped it over to the other side. I forgot to mention that I also put a little bit more seasoning on the other side, because we don't like our chicken to be too bland. And now, and my sweet potatoes weren't done, so I'll check them again, and it looked like they needed 5 more minutes. For my squash, to add some salt and pepper. If I had fresh garlic, I would definitely be putting fresh garlic in this because it would be good, but I'm out. So the next best thing is this minced garlic I keep in the fridge. I'm gonna sprinkle that around. The equivalent of about 2 teaspoons, maybe a tablespoon. All right, stirring that in. Starting to get a little soft. Now that my squash and zucchini look like they're starting. And the only reason I put a sweet pepper is because I had it in the fridge. I don't think I've cooked this with a sweet pepper before, but we will see how it turns out. I thought it sounded good. And then I always just took my sweet potatoes out of the oven. They needed a total of about 20 minutes to be cooked all the way through, but they look good now. Just checked on my chicken and it doesn't look quite done, so I'm going to give it 5 more minutes, which would be a total of, if I was throwing a dinner party or something, I wouldn't do this, but just for my family, I always slice the breast down the middle and make sure that there's no pink inside. Since there's about 5 minutes left until dinner, I'm going to add in my cherry tomatoes.
Oh, I can't wait to eat this. It looks delicious and it smells delicious. Take my chicken out and then I'll shut the fire off. I like the veggies to be pretty soft, but if you like crunchier and harder veggies, all right, give that another minute or two. I'm going to take out my chicken. I'm gonna grab a knife to be done. I just sliced through my chicken and it's done. It's ready. On my veggies. I'll let y'all know after I eat the veggies what I think about adding this. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll be posting another video, maybe two, but at least one, next week that are not food related. Stay tuned. Bye, y'all. I hope everyone has a great weekend.